I can't know.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 4 of this week's Finance SEQFC Preview Show. With thanks to Vilic Law, I'm Darren Lutton, and this is the Women's Show where we talk NPLW, BWPL, and the Football Brisbane Capital League 1 women's competition. You know the one I'm talking about. All right, so we've got some guests tonight. We've got Anthony Costa from Virginia. Good evening, Anthony.
Good evening, Darren.
Good stuff. We've got Karyn Longbottom from KPR. Good evening, Karyn.
Hello, boys.
Hello. And our special guest this evening is the Gold Coast United coach. It's Alex Bundalo. Alex, good evening.
Hello, Darren. Hello, everyone.
All right. Hopefully you guys can see him. We can't see him at the moment. The vagaries of Skype, sometimes when we publish it, he can be seen. If not, it's all right. It's all about what he's got to say anyway. All right, let's get cracking. Alex, you're top of the league. You've got 3 games to go. One of them is a rescheduled match against Lions. So you've got 1 game in hand. You're 3 points in front, 2 wins, and it's all yours. Yes?
That sounds good, but I can tell you now that it's pressure is on. We feel the pressure a little bit. I'm trying to diffuse that with the girls. We're just focused at the next game and the next training session and the next game. We're not thinking too far ahead of ourselves, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Tell me about that pressure.
Well, we first of all, I must say that I've just finished training with the girls, and I said to the girls this evening, and as I've said for the last few weeks, we should be very, very pleased with ourselves in the position we've got ourselves into. So win or lose, in reality, we've had a brilliant season. We've done all the things right. So I'm trying to diffuse that pressure by saying, look, it's been a good year so far, but we're that close that everybody feels it. We'll just take it a game at a time and see how we end up.
Do you know when your match against Lions has been rescheduled to?
I think tonight we've agreed on next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday night. Excellent. All right. So in the meantime, you've got a match this weekend up against the Gap. Right. And the Gap, their form's been a bit scratchy at the minute, especially with Gary Ward declaring that he's going to be signing for a new club next season.
That's right. But at this stage for us, there's no easy game. Pressure does some strange things to people and players. Everybody who plays us would obviously like to win, so they'll already be up. We're fully aware of that. I think the key is that we just have to believe in what we've been doing to this point, try and keep composed in our game and not about the outcome. Just think about the moment you're in, moment by moment, get through the game. And if you do the things that we've been doing well this year, in theory, have the right outcome.
And your final match is against Football Queensland QAS. If ever there's a time to play them, that's the worst time of all, yes? Because that's when they've had the most games under their belt and the most coherent as a side.
100%, Darren. They're a young team. They're dynamic. They've improved so much throughout the year. If you remember the last game we had against them, 89. In saying that, we did lots of chances, and we have Deanne Thompson, who's out COVID bubble, put her back into the team.
Right.
That's not by any means an easy game. They are a good, dynamic, so that they'll go for us.
And my understanding is with the ladder as it is, and normally we're looking at goal difference, but this season it's all about matches won. So you could lose against Lions, win your remaining 2, and that's it. And of course, if you win against Lions, happy days.
Bottom line is we need 7 points out of 9. We need another 4 points. Right? We have 3 games to play. We need a win and a draw. Again, that's on paper what we are going into game to try and.
How's your squad at the moment? I'm sure everyone's running on adrenaline. Is everyone still healthy?
I think most clubs like ourselves have had their injuries. It's been a difficult year. Our biggest loss of the season being Momo Hayashi against East 5 or so weeks ago. She actually had her ACL operated today. So that was a massive loss for us. Stats in the first games, we took 5 goals. He was playing. That's been a massive loss. We've lost Taylor Stevens, ACL injury, Deanne Thompson out for 3. Been really suffering from. However, the very positive thing that we've taken out of this is when against East, we had 2 very hard games against the and Logan in short. They were very, very good results for us in these with games without those big players. They were probably that.
Finding it very difficult to hear at the moment, Alex.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
That's okay. So, yes, you were saying?
Yeah, so it's been a difficult season with major injuries and serious injuries to some key players. In my opinion, and I won't go on about it, Momo is certainly one of our best players, but probably one of the best players in the league in that position. And to have lost such a key player and then still be able to continue with some good results against Kapalaba and Logan, that sort of everyone has bought in and the belief is there now. So, look, we're looking forward to the 3 games. We're looking forward to the Lions game. That will be a cracker of a game. They are the best attacking team in the league, scored the most goals. But we have Deanne Thompson back now, who we didn't have in the first round. So that's going to be a great game. And we aim to win.
As you should. All right. So just having a quick look at the other matches this weekend. So I must say I'm finding it very hard to keep up with things at the moment. Just looking at the schedule, it's very difficult. Here we go. So Lions have the bye this weekend. I make it. We've got Southwest Queensland Thunder against Souths. Football Queensland QAS up against Easts. Mitchelton against Moreton Bay. Gold Coast against the Gap. Palaba against Logan. Karyn, apart from Gold Coast needing that win, what are the other games that stick out for you there?
Logan need to win, and Easts also need to win to keep their top 4 chances alive. Essentially, those are coming down to some real crunch matches. So the Gap and Logan still have a game in hand, I believe. Oh, no, they played that one. It's Logan and someone else. I can't remember who, sorry. But they have a catch-up game, meaning that could put them 3 points ahead of Easts. So essentially, East will be hoping for Kapalaba to get up and for Easts to win their next 2 games against QAS and Kapalaba to sneak and Logan, to sneak in the top 4. But Logan should be in a pretty good position because it's Thunder that they've got the catch-up game against, and then they've got Kapalaba and East. So look, it's in their hands, Logan's. So yeah, I'm sure Croyd's will be feeling pretty confident.
The eastern suburbs results of late have really put them back in the frame, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they'll be really disappointed with the game against Kapalaba on the weekend. I think that they were pretty keen on getting a result and to concede in, I think, the 90th odd minute to go down 2-1. They'll be quite disappointed with that, I'm sure.
Alex, tell me about your matches against Logan and Easts this year.
So East has been our bogey team this year. If the first game of the season we played East, we were winning 2-0. And then that very first game, we lost Deanne Thompson for 3 months with an ankle injury sustained in that game, and also our visa player, Ree Kitano. So that ended up being a 2-2 draw. And then in this last game that we had 5 weeks ago, we lost Momo Hayashi and Danny Wise, and they beat us 3-2. So they've certainly been our bogey team. They are on their day. They can beat any team in the league. They've got quality players. So when they're on, they're on. I guess with East, if you pressure them for long enough, they'll resist, and sooner or later they've got to give. But they're a very, very dangerous team to play, and I don't think many teams would like to play them in the semis because they're very, very dangerous.
Alex, the question I should ask you, your match against South, where you were, I think it was 2-1 down in the 89th minute, and you ended up winning it 3-2. That had to be the game where you went, right, this is our season, yeah?
Darren, you are so correct. I was driving home from that game and I thought there must have been some divine intervention there, because as optimistic as I am, they scored 3-2 down with less than 3 minutes on the clock. And I thought, wow, what are we going to do here? So even as optimistic as I am, I thought we could still get a draw out of this. So immediately I pushed a left fullback and said, look, leave 3 at the back, left fullback, just go up and play 4 at the front. Yeah, we just need to get the ball in the box and see if we can get a draw. When that third goal went in and it was 3-3, then it was a decision. Do you protect the draw and get a point, or do you risk going for perhaps a winner and maybe they get you on the counter attack? It was a bit risky. So I don't know what happened there, mate. The first time this season I've been on the fence and thinking, what the hell do I do? And then when that 4th goal went in, I just thought, well, there's something tonight has happened. It must have been some divine intervention. So I'll take the win, but I did say to the South girls, I felt really sorry for them, because it can be a cruel game at times, and they probably deserved better than a loss in that game, to be honest.
Yeah, it was great watching those highlights.
That's a one-off game that, I don't think that was a goal in Fergie time or clock time, 90 plus 2 minutes. So we'll take it. We're very grateful, but we were very lucky on that occasion.
Yeah. All right, Alex, we might come back to you a little bit more at the end.
Yeah.
Let's run through the Brisbane Women's Premier League now. And looking at the competition ladder, I think I've got this right. Ipswich City back on top. Is that right, Anthony?
I believe so, yes.
So they've played their catch-up game and they're back on top by 2 points.
Yes, that sounds correct. Well, they're playing tonight against UQ. They would have probably just finished. So I don't know the result of that one, though.
Yeah, we'll have to get Liz to jump in at some point. Keep us updated with what's happening. All right, let's have a quick look at this weekend's fixtures. Make sure I've got this spot on, which I probably haven't. Anthony, do you know off the top of your head, who are you guys playing this weekend?
Coomera.
Right. So you can decide the title here.
Yeah, I think one of the good things about not competing for the premiership is we've got Coomera and then Ipswich, so we can decide it potentially.
So you've got Ipswich the week after?
We do, yes.
Wow, fantastic. All right, and you're playing Coomera at home. So how do you see it going with going up against Trent?
Well, we beat them last time, so we know we can do it. And I know we've got a good side and we've played some good football and we're starting to get a couple of results. But I think one of the issues with beating them last time is for those girls in their team who thought that they were definitely going to beat us, they now know that we can beat them. So they are going to come with a totally different mentality. And I'm not saying they thought they were going to win, but there would have been a handful of people who thought it might have been an easier game than what it was. But I know that's not going to be the case this week. So we know it's going to be very tough. And, they've got everything to play for this weekend. They know that this weekend potentially could be a very big game for them. So we will see, but it should be a good game if last game was anything to go by.
And funnily enough, Liz is messaging us right now. I've just asked her for the score. We've got those 3 dots happening at the bottom of the screen. Anticipation. The score is... And then they disappear and you think they're not typing. They've gone. We'll just quickly run through the other matches. Annalee are taking on UQFC and Peninsula Power are hosting Ipswich City. I noticed Peninsula Power had a loss last week that I thought was a bit of a surprise. I thought they would fare a bit better than that. So there we go. Half-time, it was nil
against my team,
That's
mate.
what I was about to say. That's against Costa's team.
Come on.
Anyway, Ipswich City won 4-2. There we go. I have to say with this split, I'm finding it extremely difficult just to keep up with everything. So, Anthony, I will throw it over to you. With the matches that are left. So, but you've pretty much run through that anyway, haven't you? So, yes, Peninsula Power hosting Ipswich City this weekend. That result tonight puts Ipswich City 5 points ahead now. But they have played an extra game from Coomera, so they will have a bye coming up shortly. All right, quickly looking at the Premier League plate. Last weekend, AC Karina had another win over Grange Thistle. Since this split, Karina have come fantastically well. Madison Raitano is currently leading our poll for Player of the Season. Broadbeach and Rabina had a 3-3 draw. So looking at that ladder, when it comes up, Rabina and AC Karina are now on 16 points. Now, we were talking about Karina going down at some point. They were bottom for quite some time, but since this split, they've really come good. All right, Karyn, let's move over to Capital League 1. Save me making a fool of myself. Please fill us in on the results.
Oh, to be honest, I haven't really caught much from the weekend. All I know is our result. That's it. And that's literally because I played. So, look, we got up over Taringa 2-0. We're actually starting to play some half-decent football, which is nice. But, yeah, I couldn't tell you anything else about it. Sorry, Darren.
Who did you beat?
Taringa.
Taringa, right.
I think they've had a fair few injuries lately, so they're a bit low on numbers. So I think that probably helped because they were a bit of a different team. Yeah.
Right. So let's look at this weekend's fixtures. So Olympic are taking on Taringa, so we'd expect Olympic to win that one then.
Yeah.
You're playing North Brisbane and Toowong are playing Pine Hills. So this competition seems to be a race in two at the moment between Olympic and Pine Hills. Those two teams have still yet to play each other in a catch-up game.
Yeah.
If I've got things right there. So Olympic currently have a 3-point gap. So it could all hinge on that Pine Hills Olympic game as to who takes out the title this year.
Yeah.
But you tend to think that Olympic are in the box seat there, just with the quality of their squad, yeah?
Yeah, no doubt. Kim Abbott, Liz Doherty, Jazz Perrin, just quality. So, yeah, they should win the league comfortably.
All right. Olympic also have to play North Brisbane in that round as well in their final week. All right, moving over to the plate, and that's a bit of a mess. Looking at that, Albany Creek have come good, 7 points clear. They're going to take out the plate in that competition. But they do play Brisbane City, who are the team below them in the league. So that'll be a very interesting match this weekend. But let's get back to the NPLW. Let's get back to Alex. Alex, with these injuries that you've had this year, how have you gone about filling your gaps? Have you had players playing in positions unfamiliar? Have you been bringing new players into the club? How have you coped?
It's been quite difficult, to be honest, Darren. We've got 3 17-year-olds playing in the senior team, which is a good opportunity for them, and that's what it is. That's what it's all about. But when you're playing, Lions, and you've got to start with 3 17-year-olds, it's throwing them into the fire. But we've made some changes. We've made some tactical changes, and as I said, the good thing is that we've beaten teams that are 3rd and 4th with those young players in the team. So they've bought into what we're doing. They have a lot of self-belief. It's good for them, and it's been some great results for us. So yes, it has been difficult, but we just have to adjust. And we've got a game plan for most teams. We don't spend a lot of time trying to change our style. We just try and improve on how we play, and so far it's worked.
I know that in your playing career, you've won plenty of trophies and done extremely well. What about in your coaching career? Have you been in a situation like this before?
No, I haven't, Darren. It's a new experience in terms of Look, I've won lots of things, and I like to win games, and I have a winning. We want to try and instill a winning mindset. We don't want to win at all costs, but we do want to try and win everything we compete in. I'm competitive by nature. I've enjoyed the ride. I haven't been in this position, but I enjoy the feeling, and I'm very, very passionate. And I think that's been part of the key to our success as well, because when I come to training in the evenings, I just finished training now. And thankfully, we're a bit late because I had to get my breath back. I mean, I join in with the girls every session, and I think it rubs off that enthusiasm and that passion. So that's been one of the components to why we've been successful. I love it. I love the women's game. You're dealing with mature, with young women that want to give their best. I feel like I have something I contribute, and it's a two-way street. It's worked really well, and I think I'm going to stay in the women's game for a few more years, if I can.
Good news. Good news. In recent weeks, we've got Anthony's and Karyn's opinions on this matter, but with the talk that FQ have put out about next season splitting into a top 8 and a bottom 8, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. If they can. Look, we went to a TD's meeting at FQ, and we had a workshop there as well. And the consensus was that perhaps it would be a good thing to have the two groups, so that teams that are, the games are a bit tighter, and we get the best outcome for top 8 and bottom 8. What is more concerning, I think, for me, is the gap between under 16s and under 23s next year. I'm very concerned that we will lose some good young players to the game purely because of the 6-year age gap. So I think FQ probably need to have a look at that and see if there's a better solution than what's been proposed.
Guys, do you want to jump in there?
Karyn, I'll let you go first.
No, I completely agree with Alex about the under 23s not being the right fit. I think under 20s is probably a better compromise.
Yes.
Yeah, and look, I think I can see where FQ's coming from in terms of wanting to increase the competitiveness in terms of the number of teams, but I think that maybe that could have been achieved in a different manner by reducing the number of licenses full stop, and then making a really good, strong product and building from there. But anyway, it's happening, it's here, and as long as the right people get chosen for those licenses, then there's no reason why it can't be a success.
Can I ask you this, though, guys? Could you foresee any of the clubs stacking their under-23s team with players that are between age 21 and 23? I sort of see it just as a stopgap measure of keeping players at a club and in the game and in a good competition. So if you've got a strong squad, maybe a couple of players on the fringe, you're getting them games by getting them in the under-23s. Am I wrong there?
Well, I think that you're going to have some clubs who will go one way where they'll just keep their under-18s who are currently there, and then you'll have other clubs who will encourage those better younger players who are 20, 21, 22, 23 to come along to their club, and then they'll have two really strong sort of teams as a giant squad. So it could go either way. I mean, I'm kind of the opinion where if you haven't sort of made it by about 2021 into a top team, then you probably do need a bit of time to develop in senior football and then maybe come back in later. Because, you know, your best young players are playing top team, even if there's 17 in Alex's team, and there's a young 15-year-old at Logan who's been given dispensation to play up in the senior women's team. So, look, I think if you're good enough at whatever your age you should be in, but I think 21, 22, 23 probably should already be knocking on the door given the number of licenses that are already there. Yeah,
I think I agree. Initially, it was supposed to be under 20s with 4 overage players play down. And I was, you know, without even being in the NPL, I was a big fan of that idea because it allows you to have a reserves comp, so you're not going to have girls missing out every week. But it also means you're going to have the good young kids competing against older players, but not 23-year-olds. But it also means if you've got a girl coming back from injury or they're not fit, whatever, you can still play them down. They can still get a game under their belt, but you're not going to have, you know, because there will be clubs, and I know a lot of clubs are trying to retain players as quickly as possible. and they're basically trying to retain the entire under-18s. So you're going to have teams that are 18 years old, and you will have some clubs that, especially the clubs that are quite strong potentially, they might say, well, let's bring in the best 21, 22, 23-year-olds and give them an opportunity to play at this club. And then in 2 years' time, they can now develop into the first team. Whereas normally those 21, 22-year-olds aren't going to make it at a really big club. So they might have to go to a mid-table, bottom-table team to get game time. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after the split, if the better 22, 23-year-olds will go to the bigger clubs and play under 23s, or if they will decide to play NPL2 but be in the first team. So, yeah, I think it's a bit of they've opened a bit of a can of worms, but I guess at the end of the day, we're not going to know what's going to happen until we give it a chance. So, I know what my thoughts are, but at the end of the day, it might work. We don't know.
Yeah.
Alex, do you have a final word on that?
I just think there's going to be some really odd scores, and some clubs will try and do the right thing and develop as many of their young players. But I feel there needs to be one more step at least between 16s and 23s. There just needs to be another step up the ladder where we can develop some players for another year or two. It's so hard. You've got a young 17-year-old and the problem will be that, you might develop 2 or 3 or 4 players, and you might play against a team where, with those good young players, you lose 8 or 10-0. That's not productive for anyone. That's not going to help anyone develop. Have a look at Moreton Bay this year. I mean, they've done a fantastic job. How many goals have they had scored against them? It must be difficult to keep playing under those circumstances. So I think FQ really need to think about going forward. We need one more step at least between maybe an under 20s or under 19s, and that would go a long way to solving the concerns.
Very interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. It's been great to have you with us, Alex, and we'll just be watching with interest. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you. Fingers crossed. We'll do our best.
Well, look, it's the measure of the team that you're up against that would make, if you can get over the line, it'd make it such a fantastic achievement.
Darren, in all honesty, the benchmark in the NPLW is Lions, right? They have great facilities, great players. They are very well coached. They have good resources. And as I said to my players, and I genuinely mean this, the season that we've had to achieve what we have done has been good, but we are so close that we will try our very best not to let it slip away.
All right. Well, as we said before, best of luck. All right. That's the end of the show. Thank you for your time this evening, Alex. Thank you, Anthony and Karyn, for your time. This has been the Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show. But thanks to Vilic Law, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Darren.